Hey you guys, it's Ashley from the Candle Collective, and I am bringing you a video today that I am really excited about for the simple fact that it's a new year, and I think this is a really good time to give this piece of advice. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashley and I'm a serial entrepreneur, and my latest endeavor has been making candles. And I've never been a product-based business before, and for the last year and some change, I've been taking you guys along on this YouTube channel with me and running a product-based business, specifically candles, and sharing quite a bit about it from the marketing and business side of things. Today I am going to talk specifically to candle makers. Most of my other videos you're able to pretty much overlap into any industry, but this one is specific to candle makers, and it actually was sparked from a recent call that I had this morning, so it's fresh on my mind. If you're not familiar, I offer 30 for 30, so it's $30 for 30 minutes. And basically I work with other candle makers or small business owners to really reduce the overwhelm, offer an opinion or advice based on my experience on things that you can do to remove roadblocks, either in launching your business, starting your business, testing with your business, 5 years into your business, whatever it might be. I just am trying to act as a sounding board for you guys to really help remove those roadblocks so that you can get out of your own way and continue to give the greatness to the world. So today's topic that I'm going to be talking about is pretty much the advice that I am consistently giving in all of these 30 for 30 calls. I think I'm getting close to offering about 100 of these sessions over the last year. I'll have to triple check that number, and I consider myself really lucky that about 100 of you have trusted me enough to reach out, which is really a scary step, to say, hey, I need some help. If you're like me, asking for help is a really, really hard roadblock that I have still yet to perfect, and something that I'm still working on. But so many of you have just even sending the email to say, hey, I think I need some help. Can I schedule a 30 for 30 with you? Is a big step. And the one thing that I say in almost every single call, besides get out of your own way, which I'll get to in a minute, is to trust your gut. Now, I know that feels really ambiguous, and I know that that feels really lofty and doesn't really leave a black and white answer, rather just leaves a lot of gray area, but hear me out. So a lot of you that are candle makers that reach out to me, most of you are in a pre-launch state, or have just launched, or have kind of done this like friends and family launch where you're like, yeah, everyone wants me to do this, and I'm not really open to the public yet, or I'm just selling at some markets, and I don't know, there's just kind of this like area of space that most of you who schedule these calls with me are in. And a lot of times, don't want to sell myself short here, you guys already know the answers. You already know the answers to things that you're going to ask me, but you sometimes just need to hear my vote of confidence before you believe the answer, if that makes sense. So here's an example. I just got off of a call, and the wonderful woman that I spoke to, she was like, I've tested this wax and it worked, but the supplier changed the wax. And so now I'm trying to make my entire candle line work based off this supplier's new wax. And I was like, okay, so why are we still doing what's not working? And I'm oversimplifying this for the sake of this video and time, but she had basically said, well, I have this full box of the new wax that I feel like I need to use. And I said, no, you don't. I get that it's a financial investment, but since the supplier changed the wax, perhaps you reach out to the supplier and say, I want a refund because I want to work with the original wax that was already tested for the success of my business. And I could just see kind of like the wheels turning for her, and she was like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my power back. So what she's going to do now is go back to her original testing, because let's be honest, testing is daunting and it's stressful and it's annoying and it's an investment. It's super expensive, not only with our time and energy, but with our pockets. I was almost going to say pocketbook. Oh, that feels like a statement my mom would make. Anyway, so what I've really found in all of these 30 for 30 calls is that Y'all already know the answers to the things that you're asking me, but a lot of us have never been down this road of entrepreneurship and being a business owner and making decisions 100% solely for yourself. And it's a really scary and uncharted territory, and that's when I'm usually releasing the advice of trust your gut. Now, myself included, I fall victim to this all time. I hate making decisions, and there's a lot of times and energy that I spend, especially in the middle of the night when I can't sleep, that I'm like mulling over all of these possible scenarios in my brain, but not making a single decision about any of them. And I'm just living in this like orbit of no decision making, stress and anxiety, and for what? When really I could just be trusting my gut and actually picking a path to live on and walk down. And that's what I want to say to all of you who are watching this. If you're still teetering on doing a 30 for 30 or it's just not for you, that's totally fine. That doesn't hurt my feelings at all. You need to do what's best for you. But my piece of advice that most likely I'm going to share in some portion of that 30 minutes is to trust your gut. We all come into candle making because usually it starts with a hobby, something to do, something that's kind of melodic in our life that allows us to have an outlet of creativity, of meditation, anything like that. Whatever form of life or problem that you're trying to solve brings you to candle making. We need to know that the steps that we took to even buy the initial supplies to start testing and making candles, or the YouTube videos that we started to research and the questions that we're asking Google, were all based on a gut feeling that we had of where to go and what to do. And so when we start to test, or when we start to get closer to launch or post-launch, and we're trying to make these decisions, we need to really listen and tap into our intuition, because the more that we know, I find it interesting, the less we start to trust ourselves in these situations, because they feel like a make or break situation. And I hope that makes sense to you guys, and I hope I'm being clear with my words, because I feel really strongly about this. We need to be trusting the information that we do know as a learning expert in this field. And some other things that I've noticed and that I've mentioned in these calls as like pitfalls that we fall victim to, the sense of urgency that is placed on us from outside noises. And a really good example that I can share with you guys on this is we get so invested with the candle suppliers that we buy our fragrance oils, our wax, our wicks from, and obviously they take it's like a relationship, like they take a very prominent role in our candle making abilities, and we're really at the mercy of like their supplies and shipments and things like that in order for us to have this like well-oiled machine, aka our business, move and shift and grow. So we have this dance with these suppliers, and let's say that you have tested a candle and you're really happy with it and you really like how it smells, and then all of a sudden it's a new season and the candle supplier is like, hey, look at all these wonderful brand new exciting things that we can give your candle business that have nothing to do with the products that you've already tested. And this is the number one pitfall that I see, myself included, and many others, especially before launching, that we get into. It's the newest, the latest, and the greatest that we can now intermix with our candles that has now completely pivoted us away from what we've already tested or the route that we already set to be on. And the one thing that we have to know about candle making is that if you change one little thing about a candle that is tested, it basically is a hard reset for you to go in and retest said candle. So let's say that it comes out with a new style of wick or a new prototype of wax or whatever it is, we now have to restart the wheel. And I think that we don't need to go to sleep on that. I think always improving your line and always adding new things is great. But I think for brand new business owners who perhaps have not launched yet, my advice to you is to put on the blinders for what you know. What did you originally want to make in a candle? What sense were you originally drawn to? And I actually went and looked back on my research with this, because I was like, okay, I want to like put proof to the pudding here, which I don't even know what that means, proof to the pudding, but there's proof in the pudding, to the pudding. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys some hard evidence on this. So when I originally decided to make candles, Wood and Wick Company was one of the ones that popped out at me because, as I always say, their marketing is just really well done. Their SEO, they're very ingrained. The minute you start thinking out loud that you're going to make candles, Wood and Wick Company, most likely, if you're in the States, is going to pop up as some place that you need to check out. So out of my original orders that I made from them of fragrance oils and wax, I had 6 scents that I launched my business with. 4 of those were from that very first initial order. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because there's always going to be a new scent. There's always going to be a new season. There's always going to be a new product. And that's what candle suppliers have to do. Their business is to get new supplies to people like you and me. They're not doing anything wrong. But if we look at it from a standpoint of trying to run a business, it actually is cluttering a lot of what we can focus on and trust our guts with to get closer to a launch. Because the minute they throw a new product at us is the minute that we have to reset that time clock. So I just want to share that with you guys, that there is power in trusting your gut of what you initially are drawn to. I was initially drawn to these 4 scents, and they all ended up in my starting lineup. Now, it's not to say that I didn't already order like 30 other scents after that initial order to try and test and do, but all that was doing was cluttering my timeline so that my launch ended up getting further and further away. So for those of you that are really stressed about finances and really stressed about initial investment and really stressed about wanting to launch sooner rather than later, my advice to you is trust your gut, put your blinders on, find the products that you truly were drawn to in the first place, and launch with those. Now, that's not to say that some of these things in the testing process are going to change or need to change. Maybe you thought you really wanted this certain kind of wax and it's just not performing the way at which you would like. Totally fine. Pivot, move, do all the things you need to do. But a lot of the times we are literally in our own way and we put ourselves there. And so as I'm saying to you guys today, trust me, I know that I fall victim to this all the time. I am my own worst enemy 9 times out of 10 with regards to running this business. But the one piece of advice that I want to give to candle makers alike is to trust your gut. Now, this can be obviously duplicitous in any other line of business that you're in, but we're given that instinctual intuition to begin with, and we really need to at times just sit down, take a breath, and see what outside objectives, outside influences are taking us in different ways. And just noticing, do I need to go this direction right now? Or is this just something that in the moment is making me feel like I need to do this? Because there's nothing worse than, oh my gosh, I want to try that scent. I want to buy that scent. So you buy the scent, and then there's let's say a 7-day period before you get that scent. And then you live this whole life for 7 days, and then you get that scent and you're like, oh my God, I invested in this. I bought it. Now I need to test it. And it just feels different. I don't know about you guys, but that totally happens to me. I could be way off on this one, but wanted to share with you guys to trust your gut. You got into this for a reason, and you are able to run it for a reason, and that is you and you only. So again, there's no knock to any of the suppliers out there. They're just doing their jobs just like we're trying to do ours. But sometimes putting the blinders on, keeping your nose down, focusing on what you know and trusting your gut is the best thing that you can do for your business. And I just wanted to share that in this new year. You guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, check out the description box below. I have the Candle Collective Facebook group and email where you guys can get all of the brand new videos that I release, first access. And then I also have the 30 for 30 that I mentioned. So it's 30 minutes for $30. You basically email me, let me know that you'd like to set something up, and then you come to me with any rapid fire questions or concerns that you have in regards to running a business, starting a business, candle making, anything in between. And I hopefully will help you guys with shedding a little bit of light on either my past experiences, my advice or opinions, or if I absolutely don't know, I have no problem telling you that too. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to spend this new year with you guys. Bye.